Hi everyone, my name is Andrew Smith and I'm the UK Channel Sales Manager for Exterity. I'm joined today by my colleague Michael Reeder, who is Exterity's UK Solutions Consultant. What we'd like to do today is give you an overview of how we see IP technology being used as an aid to reopen stadiums and venues safely. Some of the key areas where we are seeing IP technology being used is within digital signage, which is allowing stadiums to control and manage the flow of traffic through their stadiums, and also deliver live messages around the stadium to keep everyone safe and informed. So, where does Exterity fit in this requirement, and who is Exterity? Exterity is a manufacturer of IPTV and digital signage products. We have over 19 years experience in this sector and have grown our company to be a global operation with offices all over the world. We also design, develop and manufacture all our products in the UK and work to the highest standards, making sure we have a reliable and quality product. The next slide here shows you a glimpse of some of the stadiums that we have deployed our systems into, and also some key venues and stadiums that we've assisted with reopening safely. I'm now going to pass you over to my colleague Michael, who will show you how these products work.
Let's have a quick look at a very simple Exterity IPTV system. So this will consist of three key elements. We've got the head end. This is where we take in our signal ingestion, and we can take free-to-air signals from terrestrial or satellite sources. We can also take video signals from things such as cameras, CCTV, or even set-top boxes. If we look at a set-top box as an example, if this was a Sky TV box, we can encrypt that signal and still support HDCP all the way to the endpoints. In the middle of all of this is the LAN or the network, and this will be the multicast supporting network, and this is what handles our IP traffic. We then have the user end. Now the user end, or sometimes just simply known as endpoints, this is where you find your displays. Now displays will typically utilise one of our media players, or where applicable we can forego our media players and we can stream content directly to a compatible display. And then finally, the third key element is management. So our server, or the NVIDIA server, is there to manage all of the devices and also provide monitoring. Now, we can make this a bit more complex now as we start to bring in other features that we support and provide. So on top of IPTV, we can bring in digital signage, RTO sign. This works alongside our IPTV, so we can also have a live TV feed as part of your digital signage content. We have interactive portals, RTO guest. Guests can use a remote control and can interact with your custom portal. Maybe they could choose a preferred camera viewing angle, see what events or which games are next due, and maybe even order food. And then we also have additional things like our transcoder and our origin server. So if you're ever wishing to deliver content to mobiles, browsers, or even deliver content across a WAN or the internet, we've got transcoders which can perform a real-time conversion of that video signal to a suitable format, and our origin server, which then actually provides that web interface, an HTTP server to provide that web access portal. I'll now briefly hand back over to Andrew.
Thanks for that, Michael. So, how and where can stadiums use these products in a practical way to allow them to create a safe environment for their fans and staff? You will see on the picture here we've chosen some key areas which we have seen using Exterity products to assist the safe opening of their venues and stadiums. Warner Brothers Studios, in the making of Harry Potter, used Exterity products in a number of key areas, starting with the entrance by displaying information on face masks and rules for being on site. This also flowed through to the food and drinks kiosks, which assisted with the social distancing, and then into the merchandise shop, where they used this for wayfinding around the shop to also assist with social distancing. Exterity products were not just used in public-facing areas, they were also used in their corporate offices and to allow their staff to have a safe working environment. One of the stadiums we worked with had the need to deliver live feeds to areas outside the press room and boxes due to the new social distancing rules. We were able to resolve this with Exterity's encoders. we're able to deliver these feeds to other safer working environments for the press, even into the stands, to allow them to continue doing their work in a safe, socially distanced environment. Another request that came up on this client was they wanted to deliver more training to their staff over the new health and safety rules. Again, we were able to use the Exterity solution here by offering a video on demand service of training videos, which allowed the users to be able to watch the videos in a safe environment, record that they watched it in a safe environment, and then store that information to make sure that all of their staff have been fully trained under the new health and safety rules. I'm now going to pass you back over to Michael Reeder, who's going to give you more of an overview of these areas that we've just discussed and how else they can work within stadiums. Also, he'll be able to give you a demonstration at the end of this on how easy it is to create this content across your stadium. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Andrew. Let's just have a quick look at some of these parts of the stadium in depth, and then we'll move on to an actual demo. So if we look at the entrance of the stadium, we can include things like COVID messaging, reminding people of the rules they have to follow, lane guidance and one-way systems, and also wayfinding to their nearby facilities, toilets, the exits, and then finally to their seats. Kiosks and shops. So COVID messaging can still remain alongside promotions and product pricing, but Exterity signage can also integrate with third-party EPOS systems. So we can automatically update pricing and product descriptions. No need for a manual change. And when people are queuing up to buy their drinks and food, you can still stream a live TV feed of the game as it's going, so there's no need to miss any of the action. Training centres. So we can capture and record training sessions with our encoders, and that can be in HDMI or SDI cameras. Video can then be stored on our video server, and then we can use our video on demand module to play that back, and then team or individual player performance can then be reviewed and played back on demand. And then hotels and conference centres, again, IPTV and signage could be sent over from the stadium, or the hotel could have its own unique content. With the hotel, we can also offer an interactive guest portal, Archeo Guest, and again, this can bring in things like video on demand, room billing, room service. We can also integrate again with third-party PMS systems, so things like billing and checking out can also be supported. And what we'll do now is we'll have a very quick look at the actual user interface of Archeo Sign and create some signage. We'll go through its features, the different elements we support. We'll publish that content to a player. We'll publish that content to also a group of players. And then finally, we'll also show you how to schedule content. So let's just dive into Archeo Sign, which is our digital signage module. And I'm just going to create a new blank playlist. And here I've got my main working canvas. This represents our typical display, our working panel. And then along the top row, the different elements we support. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these in the live demo, but very quickly, we can bring in HTML or web content, date and time, images can be a single image or an image carousel if we bring in multiple images. We have a meeting room element, so we can tie into a back-end server, Exchange for example, bring in those room bookings and get those displayed up on screen. PDF and PowerPoint, so if you've got content in Acrobat PDF or Microsoft PowerPoint, we can import those in, and what we do, we'll bring those in and create a static image for each page or each slide. RSS feed or XML, this one we will be using in the demo shortly, and again we can take in an XML feed and have that scrolling across the screen. Static text, or you can even provide your own manually inputted text and have that scrolling, similar to an XML feed. Social media, in this case Twitter, where we can display a graphical timeline. And then we have a couple of video options. We have a video where we can ingest video, that can be live TV, video on demand, an asset or a video which is already stored on our server, or it could be a video of your choice which you can manually upload. We have a video list, that's a video on demand. Somebody using our infrared remote control can select from a choice of videos of what they wish to play. And then finally we have a weather element where we can display 1 day or up to 5 days of weather. But in this particular demo, we're just going to quickly throw in a few images and some other content. So I'm just going to quickly drag over an image. I get my placeholder. I'm going to make that go full screen. And I'm just going to use this manual upload button now to specify an image. Bring my image in. So I've got my initial image, and this is actually going to act as my background as well. So I've got my main background. And I'm just going to build this up a bit more. Let's bring in another image element. And this one is going to act as my COVID one-way system. So to encourage the fans as they arrive in the stadium to follow the arrows. So let me bring in my one-way image. There we go. And I'll get that punched in. Need him to be 500 by 740. There we go. And he's in. So we've got our background, we've got our COVID one-way message up there on screen. Let's bring in a live video. So I'm going to drag over the video element. And again, got my placeholder, create the size I'm needing. Now, as I mentioned, video can be a live video feed, taking a feed which is on our AV multicast network. It could be a video which is stored on our server, or you can upload a video of your choice. In this particular case though, I'm going to take a live video feed coming from our stadium. And let's bring in time and date. Let's have a clock up there. I'll have my clock. Set the format I wish to have. Need to make him a bit easier to read. Let's make him white on a dark background. And I can make that a bit bigger as well. Good. So I've got my clock image, I've got a live TV feed, and then finally let's just drag in a scrolling RSS or XML feed. I've got my placeholder. Make that the correct size. And then in here, you'd punch in a valid link. So any link which can be discovered on an internal network or an external network, as long as it is a valid link. That would then render on screen and scroll. And up here, I can even specify if I want left to right or vice versa. I can specify my preferred font. And again, color if needs be. There we go. Now I need to give this a meaningful name, so I'm just going to quickly give this a name. And then quickly save that. So very quickly, just put together some very simple signage. We've created the signage, we've just saved it, but it hasn't yet gone anywhere. We've still yet to specify where we wish to publish this to, so we'll do that now. When we wish to publish to a player or a group of players, we use our module called Smart Control. And I go to the digital signage section, and up here in the top row, all the presentations I've already got saved on my server. The main window here will show all the players you've got currently on site. And on the left-hand side are groups. Now these groups can be created, and you're totally at freedom to create as many as you wish, name them as you wish, and you can easily make a player a member of a group just by dragging it over. So there we go, that particular player is now a member of that group. When it comes to publishing a piece of content, it's just a drag and drop process. So I could take our newly created presentation and just drag it to an individual player. Off that goes. Or I could turn around and drag it to a group which could represent multiple players. Off that goes. Using this method, anything that's published is sent and stored locally on each player, and that will just play 24/7 until you decide to change the content. The final stage is scheduling. So maybe we don't want something just to play 24/7. Maybe we wish to have a bit more control as to when something starts, when something stops. So we can use something called a campaign. And here again, I have my presentations all in the top row, and it's a similar process. It's a drag and drop. So I'm going to drag over my initial presentation, and using the placeholders, I can drag that across as far as I need to on my working week. And if required, I can even punch in exact times. So I could turn around and say 12 for the sake of argument. So I've got one presentation in there, and it's just on Monday. If I wanted to, I could interrupt that, so I could have another presentation, drag that in, and that would automatically interrupt. Once I've got the placeholder, I can drag that to whichever time I'm needing, make it longer, make it shorter, or again, I can even punch in an exact time if needs be. And again, I could interrupt that later on in the day. And if I'm happy with that, I can then quickly just copy Monday and even carry that over to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But for Saturday and Sunday, I could just turn around and say, no, I'm just going to have that playing all day Saturday and Sunday. Again, we need to give this a meaningful name. Okay, and quickly save that. Okay, as before, we've created a schedule, we've saved it, but until we publish it, nothing will happen. So we go back to our smart control, select our digital signage. Now here, as before, we can see our presentations along the top row, but right now I'm not interested in presentations, I want to use the schedule. So I'm going to use this little button here to toggle between a presentation and schedule. There we go, I can just toggle between the two, and there's the schedule we just created. And it's the same process, it's a drag and drop. I can take that to an individual player, off that goes, or I could drag that to a particular group of players. Off that goes. So that's creating digital signage, publishing digital signage, and then finally using schedules. So, thank you for your time. That brings us to the end, but both myself and Andrew are now available for any questions you may have, and that could be related to maybe the digital signage or maybe some of the other features you've seen so far in this presentation. So do feel free to fire away. Thank you.